Night. I am standing with my group. I am wearing glasses and a black hoodie. The door opens. The neighboring gang continues to run out to meet us. One of them wore a black beard and a yellow bandana. One of the bullies from our gang hit the enemy. I immediately jumped up and followed his example. This is a former classmate from a previous school. My blow knocked him off his feet. He has grown up. Something in his eyes betrayed a courage that was not there before. His legs wrapped around my legs. We both fell. I know this move. There is a smile on my classmate's face. I was afraid that my glasses would break from the blow. I fell face down onto asphalt. Luckily, my glasses are intact. Everyone ran away. Only the two of us remained. I am running along a dark street between the city walls. I am running after the girl, or she is running after me. I don't remember. Something unintelligible flew from her lips. I did not understand either words. The girl disappeared behind the horizon of the city walls. I shouted after her, "I'll rape you in this alley." I looked at the night sky. I saw silhouettes of birds. The enemies, like ninjas, rolled barrels of tar. The wooden structure that held their gang stretched to the sky. It's cold. I feel fear. Courage is not that absence of fear. It is when you move forward despite the fear. I am tired of being afraid. Many times I told myself, I am not afraid of death. Many say that there is nothing to be afraid of. When death is so close that you can see its grin. Yesterday's heroes become cute puppies and teddy bears. You can cuddle them, play with them. No one sees them as a man. As strange as it may sound, but I always felt that I was born for something great. I would like to die a hero. In my opinion, this is the most noble death. Many years from now, some woman with a small son will pass by a grave overgrown with grass or a monument in the center of the city. The little son will ask his mother what kind of monument this is. This uncle saved our city at the cost of his life. The uncle is a hero, the woman will answer. The rain has intensified. My legs are weak. I am cold. The sweatshirt is soaked through. I continue to run. An incredible number of raindrops have collected on my glasses. I take off my glasses on the go and put them in my pocket. Lightning struck the asphalt a few meters away from me. My heart almost sank into my heels. I have always been afraid of thunderstorms. I remember how, as a child, I would crawl into the closet, under the bed, usually at night. When a storm suddenly overtook our house, I cried. I shook with fear like a puppy's tail. Mom tried to calm me down. In vain. Often, her attempts did not bring results. But when she managed to bring me back to reality, I continued to cry, although this time on my mother's shoulder. The bridge. Here I will wait out the rain. To my surprise, it was dark under the bridge. I saw only the blackened sky beyond the horizon, occasionally lit up by lightning. What is it? I feel someone's breath on my neck. Is the air cold or warm? I don't know. I don't care. All that matters is the deathly cold goosebumps running down my back. I turned sharply and kicked into the darkness. The creature howled in pain. I was clutching a piece of brick in my hand. It gave me strength. Without thinking twice, I kicked it. My foot felt something soft or hard. In short, a body. I knelt down and started hitting it with the brick. The brick easily went into some abyss. Lightning struck close. I saw a girl. Her face was covered in blood. Little was left of her nose. I found a brick in her mouth. Apparently, the mouth is the abyss from which all her teeth had flown out. I saw her for the second time in my life. About 10 minutes ago I was chasing her. How could I beat up a girl? I don't care. She's the enemy, a representative of the wrong neighborhood. You can judge me. Where are you now, great singers of the gender revolution? You scream at the top of your lungs about the equality of men and women. But don't equal rights imply equal responsibilities? We are women, no worse than men, you scream. But as soon as you break a nail, a hairpin, a car, or something else, helplessness calls for male generosity. I'm a girl. I don't understand cars. Understand? A person can learn anything. As Socrates said, it is impossible to live better than to spend life in the pursuit of becoming more perfect. I burst with rage when caring girls ask me if I have a girlfriend, if I am going to get married, if I will cheat on my wife. What business is it of yours? I do not ask you what kind of toilet paper you use, pink or white, to marry the man of your dreams, to give birth to children, love to madness. He does everything for you. The perfect family. The children don't drink or smoke, no tattoos or tunnels, every day, returning from school, college, work. They bring a huge bouquet. The grateful offspring crawl on their knees, kissing their feet. They are grateful that they exist. They thank this woman for giving them life. The woman has fulfilled her purpose. She has fulfilled her natural function, laid down by the great machine of existence. And what next? Nothing. Emptiness. Mission accomplished. Have you ever wanted to do something great? Cure AIDS, destroy cancer, feed the hungry children of Africa. Not all children are lucky with mothers like your children. The first ray of light has finally dispelled the darkness of my room. I am sitting at the table. My hand is writing the text itself. I never thought that I would write a diary. Maybe I was afraid that someone would read it. So what? Let them read it. At least they will get to know the real me. It is strange to write this now. The sun is already so high. My modest lair is flooded with gold sunlight. It blinds my eyes a little. I do not notice the stuffy air and the smell of sweat. I am little concerned with everyday life. I am listening to the main theme from Mafia. Truly amazing music. Only Requiem for a Dream from the film of the same name has touched my soul so strongly. I am here and there. I am often immersed in myself, as if I live more and more in my inner world. Forgive my friends, my morning melancholy. I am again reliving the events of the recent past. I will not describe everything that happened to me. I will not describe my mother's tears and the quarrel with my father. After I knocked out the girl's teeth, there was a trial. Of course, I was threatened with prison. But thanks to my influential relatives, whose names I will not mention out of fear and respect, the threat passed. Of course, I tried to pretend to be a crazy fool in front of the psychiatrist, but he is not a fool either. Unfortunately, I am a bad actor. Cognac and a few green shot glasses tied in the middle are much more convincing than my acting talent. Instead of prison, I was sent to an experimental school with the pompous name of Friendship. It was something like a small prison for juvenile delinquents or a boarding school. Ordinary children were raised there. Society hung the label. Dangerous, crazy, idiots, bandits, criminals. Someone committed a grave sin of crime. Someone was a spiritual cripple from birth. The camp school was located in the forest. To my surprise, I did not find a fence with barbed wire and scary men with machine guns. Of course, there was a fence, but it was a fence and nothing more. Just 2 meters of wooden boards, placed vertically and parallel to each other. This place screamed poverty. It got to the point that the hospital could not provide the orderlies with white coats. They were dressed poorly, mostly old shabby shirts or khaki-colored robes. A baton hung from their belts. A couple of orderlies had captured weapons, something like a pistol that fired tranquilizers. All the guards were not enough for 8 detachments. The buildings were located at a distance, relative to each other. In the center there was a school building, next to the medical buildings. I was supposed to spend 7 months in this wonderful place. They brought me at night. They gave me underwear and sent me to sleep. 3rd detachment, rise. Great things await us. A rough male voice was heard. I reluctantly raised my head from the pillow. I slowly looked around at the inhabitants of room 501. The oldest was 17. He extended his hand to me, slender. I mentally laughed at his nickname. As I found out later, he was madly afraid of Slender, for which he got his name. He often wet himself at night. It was the smell of fresh urine that hit me so brightly in the nostrils that first morning in the cab. But then I did not understand it and did not attach any importance to it. He loved the girl very much, but she did not pay attention to him. And then Slender presented her with a gorgeous gift, a cat's head. Just a few days ago, this head adorned the body of a cat that liked to sleep on the girl's legs. The other inhabitant was also 14. They called him Alien for his alien behavior. He was interested in things that no one else cared about. His conversations seemed strange and boring to everyone. The alien was serving his sentence for something that probably all children, or at least many of them, dreamed of doing, but no one dared to do, setting schools on fire. I won't describe the rest. They were such helpless infusoria that I called them Infusoria 1 and Infusoria 2. I will only say that they were brothers, and when one was beaten, that other cried and crawled at their feet. They were 16. Oh, and they were twins. I don't know what they did to get here. I think all they could do was cry and helplessly cuddle up to each other. Oh yeah, apart from what I did, I haven't told you anything about myself. They called me Torch. I couldn't control my rage. I would flare up like a match or a torch. I was 17. The squad was divided into two parts. Boys on the right, girls on the left. Although the squad was the third, the numbers for the room started from 401 and so on the left, and 501 and so on the right. I lived in 501. After exercise, there was breakfast. Slender, Alien, and I sat together. Pinfusoria never parted. Sitting at different tables was unthinkable for them. A dark-haired guy in a grey t-shirt sat down in the only free seat. Without saying hello, he silently devoured his breakfast. The alien quickly ate his rice porridge. Taking out his phone, he turned on the flashlight. A second later, he turned it off. Then he turned it on again, and then turned it off again. The alien continued his activity throughout breakfast. Slender watched what was happening with interest. Slender began to tell some funny story, and he almost choked a couple of times. He spoke quickly. His high voice seemed a little disgusting to me. On some other level of perception, the vibrations of his voice painfully dug into my ears, getting into the middle ear. They turned into nails. Millions of large and small nails stuck into my brain from all sides. I tried to abstract myself from what was happening. For some time, I was immersed in my thoughts. Looking at others, I realized that no one cared about Slender. Dalian was still sticking his flashlight into his head. The boy in the grey t-shirt was looking at his plate. After breakfast, the guards took me to one of the medical buildings. One after another, I was examined by a therapist, an ophthalmologist, a surgeon, an eye specialist, a dentist and others. The last one was a psychiatrist. Having finished the dialogue, he wrote in the card that I may have signs of schizophrenia. A thorough examination is necessary. Then they took me to a psychologist. She was a nice woman of about 25 to 28 years old. She asked the orderly to leave us alone. The psychologist gestured for me to sit down. So you beat up the girl, right? She asked, smiling. Yes, why? I don't know so. If I understand you correctly, you just hit the girl. No, I didn't just hit her. I cut her whole face open. You did badly. Boys don't do that, Nadezhda Viktorovna noted. So what? How and what? You attacked another person. Hurt them. Moreover, she is a girl. The psychologist raised her voice a little, but continued to smile. A girl, a boy. What difference does it make? She is a representative of the area. Gender, age or race do not matter here. Can I ask you a frank question? If you want, you don't have to answer. Go ahead. Do you hate women? Why do I hate them? No, I just don't respect them. Why don't you respect them? Did any of them hurt you? Why should I respect them? They are weak, hysterical, good for nothing. They give love, care. After all, your mother is also a woman. She gave birth to you, gave you life. It's completely natural. Women give birth to children. This is their function, the reproduction of life. They take care of children. They are afraid of losing them. That unconscious dictates to them that it is necessary to preserve their offspring. If it were different, people, just like other representatives of the fauna, would have died out long ago. Yes, that's true. But it's not that simple. What about love? I don't believe in love. What do you mean you don't believe? She looked me in the eyes. Some people don't believe in God, but I don't believe in love. Why don't you believe? You've obviously thought about it for a long time. No, I haven't thought about it at all. There are things that are of no interest to anyone, and this is exactly the case. You're not a stupid guy. Just a couple of years ago you were one of the best in your class. You were good at math. You got involved with a bad crowd. Why did you stop studying? What's the point? What's the point? You can graduate from high school with honors, go to university, find a prestigious job. You're from a wealthy family. You could study abroad. Now everyone goes to study in London. Enough. Don't you think our conversation is pointless? You all say the same thing. What do you want? You can trust me. It won't come out of these walls. Okay, if you ask, I'll tell you. Most of all, I want you to shut your mouth. I also want to go back to my room. I think that's enough for today. We'll continue tomorrow. The orderly took me to the building. Nothing interesting happened all day. I lay on the bed, listened to Slender's whining, then listened to the alien's existential perception of existence. It got more interesting in the evening. I couldn't even imagine that such establishments host discos. Although this is an experimental camp, the first of its kind, there were a lot of people on the open area. The orderlies stood at a distance and seemed to take no part in what was happening. Slender, Alien, and I stood near a tree, not daring to come closer. Slender said that he didn't want to dance. He came to see how the girls twitched. The Alien, apparently, didn't care. He looked at the sky indifferently. I got tired of it. I started making my way to the center. I entered one circle, then another, but they quickly scattered. Finally, a slow dance started playing. I quickly looked around. Everyone was in pairs or with friends. I didn't want to talk to unnecessary people. I saw a girl. She was standing alone, slightly blonde hair and pink shorts. Through a grey t-shirt with a pink inscription, I saw her nipples. I headed towards her. Having walked halfway, I felt my breath. Only now did I realize how my heart was beating. My legs felt like cotton wool. They stopped. They grew into the asphalt. I turned back, but ran into the Alien and Slender. Slender squeaked, something like for me to go to her. I turned back. I felt a strong push in the back. I flew the entire way, but I did not dare to go. I ran into the girl with my whole body, almost knocking her off her feet. "Hi, let's dance," I said hesitantly. "Okay, let's dance," the girl said, looking up at me. I felt a little arrogance in her voice. She put her hands on my shoulders. I, in turn, on my waist. Looking at my face, I only now realized that my armpits were completely wet. I must be smelling of sweat. It was too late to retreat. Her face was beautiful, although I noticed a few pimples. This is quite natural for our age. Even if the skin is clean, even if you wash your face every day, there is still no guarantee that they will not appear. It turned out that she was also from the third squad. Her name is Sveta. While we were dancing, we talked about computer games. Over her shoulder, I noticed a dancing couple. The guy was holding the girl by the butt, and she was smiling broadly. I tried to lower my hands lower. Sveta's face showed a dual feeling. On the one hand, I saw what she wanted. On the other, there was silent discontent. I put my hands back on her waist. Something like gratitude crossed her face. We spent the rest of the evening together. Half an hour until lights out. Imperceptibly passing the orderlies, I dragged her to the safest place, the men's restroom. It was a lighted room with 4 sinks and 2 stalls. Between the stalls, high in the wall, there was a hole. Apparently a pipe had once run through it. Having locked myself in the right stall, I gave free rein to my hands. We kissed. I touched her breasts. 2 fingers slid into her panties. She asked me to stop. It seemed she was a virgin, but even if she had not been, I was in a hurry. Apparently, this was what scared me the most. Sveta showed courage by coming with me. In those years, I was stupid and naive. She did not agree. I opened the door angrily. It seemed I could have killed someone at that moment. Sveta was crying. "Third squad, rise." The nasty voice was heard again. I opened my eyes. Everyone, reluctantly, was trying to get up. Alien seemed cheerful. Probably, he hadn't slept all night. He was looking somewhere far away. He was peering at the wall, as if looking through it. I noticed a book in his hands. I put on my glasses. Albert Camus. Lit outsider. Alien caught my gaze. "Have you read Camus?" "No," I answered a little sharply. In vain. Camus grew up in the poor suburbs of Algeria and, what makes you think that I'm interested? I don't care whether you're interested or not. I'm talking because I want to talk. I don't care whether you listen to me or not. Tell someone else. At this moment in time, I want to tell you specifically. I don't want to listen to you. I told you it doesn't matter. Do you think you're the most daring? I got out of bed and went up to the Alien. 501. Why are we taking so long to get ready? The hoarse voice of the orderly was heard. This day was similar to the previous one. Exercise, breakfast. After breakfast, they took me to the psychologist again. The conversation was similar to yesterday's. Today I decided not to go to the disco. Left alone in the room, I lay on the bed for a while, looked out the window. People were leaving the building. I went to the toilet, completely immersed in my thoughts. When I left the stall, I saw 2 guys. One was very tall and strong. The second one was too, but a little weaker. I headed for the exit. They didn't let me through. Without thinking twice, I hit the stronger one. He deftly dodged the blow and jumped to the side. A strange, slightly frightening smile emphasized his furious gaze. The blows flew at me like a herd of wild horses. My head hurt when it touched the sink with quick movements. That evening, I was kicked pretty badly. They left me alone. I was left lying near the sink in a pool of blood. I woke up in the infirmary. It hurt to move. I could barely hold back my tears. It was only physical pain. My spirit cannot be broken. My neighbor in the ward was beaten by the same guys. From him I learned that the stronger one is called Juggernaut. The second one is Berserker. Juggernaut had a difficult childhood. His mother was raped and killed in front of the child. Having lost his virginity, Juggernaut strangled the girl with a bra. Once here, he quickly gained leadership. He became the informal leader. Juggernaut is the leader of the third squad. Berserker was often called in for fights. As a rule, they always beat up newcomers. They did not care who they were and where they were from. A couple of days later, Nadezhda Viktorovna visited me. Our dialogue was not as harsh as before. After leaving the infirmary, I looked into her office more and more often. A few months later, we slept together. Nadja said that this was wrong. She is a psychologist. She should not remain within the framework of authority and morality. Without saying a word, I just kissed Nadja tenderly. A strange feeling awakened in me. This is not lust, not passion. It seems to be love. Yes, friends, I have truly fallen in love. My heart sank in anticipation of the long-awaited minutes. My breathing stopped. A pleasant shiver ran through my body. No girl had ever been so dear to me. The best thing is that my feelings did not go unanswered. Nadja loved me too. After breakfast, I ran to the psychologist faster. No, we didn't sleep all the time. The priceless minutes spent next to a loved one are more pleasant than ordinary sex. Soon, the whole squad knew about us. The guys cast respectful glances in my direction. The girls giggled shyly and whispered something behind my back. Despite the euphoria of love, this did not stop me from remaining a misogynist. But there were also negative moments. I was still beaten. Sometimes I managed to fight back. At first, there were only Juggernaut and Berserker. Over time, their number increased. Almost the entire squad hated me. I tried to find help among the neighbors, but was met with a storm of indignation. When I said that we were friends, they replied that this was not so. We were never your friends. Go to hell, cowards. I turned to the wall. The most painful thing was when they beat me and insulted Nadja. It was real torture. I woke up after a nap. Balian was holding a book in his hand. This time it was Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre. I really needed to go to the toilet. I walked down the corridor looking a little sleepy. On the way I met Sveta. Are you sleeping with her? Her angry face secreted so much bile that it became disgusting. None of your business. Everyone says that you are worthless. I slapped her. She cried, squatting down and leaning her back against the wall. I raised my fist above her head. After a little hesitation, I continued on my way. How strange. I slapped her. Before, I would have hit her for a long time, and not with my palm. I felt disgusted hitting her. No, not sorry, disgusted. It was disgusting to dirty my hands. I went into the stall. I took off my pants and sat down on the toilet. Suddenly I heard a suppressed laugh. I raised my head. A phone was pointed at me. Oddly enough, attacks of stupidity come to people at the most inopportune moments. Although I was rarely stupid, this was just that moment. I did not realize that I was being filmed. The phone was in a hole above. There was a small hole in the wall connecting the stalls. For some reason, I thought that someone had simply decided to make a phone call. I turned my head away and continued. When I realized what was happening, I screamed at the top of my lungs. Hey, idiot! He quickly ran out. Through the crack between the door and the wall, I saw his clothes. It was Slender. I angrily opened the door. I went into the room. Slender was gone. Balian was telling something to the infusoria. Isaac Asimov has lived in America all his life. He was born in the Smolensk province, which was part of the BSSR at the time. Will you ever shut up? I screamed. Where is Slender? He's in the lobby, the alien answered calmly, apparently noticing that it was better not to touch me now. I went to the lobby. A lot of people had gathered there. Everyone was laughing wildly. Slender was standing in the center and telling something. I hit him with all my might. He fell. Hit, hit, hit. Again, again. I deleted it. Only a couple of people saw it. Slender begged. I grabbed the phone. I smashed the phone first on the floor, then on his head. A kick threw me to the other end of the lobby. Juggernaut. Not in time. He and his friends pounced on me. Then the others joined in. If it weren't for the orderlies, I don't know how I would have stayed alive. I woke up at night from fear and the smell of burning. There was no one in the room. I didn't immediately realize there was a fire. It wasn't just our building that was burning. The neighboring buildings were also burning. There was fire, screams, and some explosions outside. I broke a window. If you jump from the second floor, you can break all your bones. I looked around. I didn't want to die in the fire either. Deep breath. Exhale, jump. I'm safe. Yes. It was scary. I fell on some pile. Looking closely, I realized that the pile was a mountain of corpses. I shuddered. I stood up, trying to run away faster. There were corpses on the road, too. They were everywhere. I saw the corpse of the director, doctors, and orderlies. Fear was growing in my heart. Torch. Juggernaut's frantic cry rang out. Should I come or run? I'm tired of being afraid approaching the crowd. I saw Juggernaut and the leaders of the other squads. The crowd was jubilant. Apparently, the leaders had started a riot. I have a gift for you, he laughed. My arms were twisted. The berserker shot me in the chest 3 times with a pistol loaded with tranquilizers. I fell. Everything was swimming. I couldn't move. Through the haze of fog I saw Nadia. Her clothes were torn. The Juggernaut was raping her. I watched. I tried to turn away or close my eyes, but it didn't work. He had a tight grip on her throat. Nadia couldn't breathe. My thoughts were far away. That morning I lied to the alien I was reading Camus. Injustice is either cooperated with or fought against. There is no third option. Resistance. Intervention is undermined by the knowledge of ultimate doom to defeat. I flare up like a match, like a torch. I light the way in the darkness. I light those who walk the path of fear.